Hey guys, just setting everything up. So as you're coming on, just let me know that you can hear me and see me okay. Let me know in the comments. I will check the comments. I'm just checking on Facebook so I can see that Facebook is going. And let me know where you're coming in from. And I'm supposed to be on Instagram too, but it's not doing it. So it might just be Facebook. So it was supposed to be Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, but that's okay. As long as somebody can hear me and see me, we're doing good. Okay. So I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about the solar flares, about what we've been experiencing. And I wanted to share with you guys some really cool insights that Spirit gave me early this morning. So they gave us a bit of an explanation. So I don't know about you, but everybody's talking about, like, you must know the people that you're following anyways on social media. They're all talking about the solar flares, right? They're all talking about because they're significant, right? We have never had this amount of activity, like continuous solar flares. Like just this morning, we've had another X class solar flare, which is a strong solar flare. And, even like the mainstream media kind of science people are talking about the possibility of there being a direct hit on the earth from one of the solar flares. So it's a big deal, right? Everybody's talking about it. But the thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about was the purpose of it. Because for me, the way my, brain works, the way my senses work, is that I know that there's a purpose for everything. So it always kind of irks me when, you ask, especially this, with doctors, you'll find if you ask them, well, why is that happening? What's the cause of it? And they'll say things like, well, there's not really a cause. It just happens. Things just happen. Well, things don't just happen. There's always a cause and an effect, right? We know this. Spirit shows me this over and over again when I do readings for clients. There's definitely no randomness to what's going on. There's always a cause and an effect, right? And so I wanted Spirit to kind of share with us what the cause and effect is for all of these solar flares that we're having, like this constant nonstop solar flare activity that we're having. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that. So say hi to me when you come on. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Dorothy. Hey, Mike. Hey, Krista. Hey, Monique. Can see everybody. Awesome. And let me know in the comments, guys, if you have any questions right now about your ascension symptoms with the solar flares or any kind of experiences that you're having right now having to do with the solar flares. And maybe you don't know that they're from the solar flares, but remember that when this energy is coming off of the sun, you think of how massive the sun is to begin with, right? Just in size. And we talk about our little tiny planet. So just the amount of energy that the sun holds and harvests is massive, right? So how could you even possibly think that it would not affect us when massive plasma, which is full of radiation, is literally beaming off of the sun? I mean, you'd have to be daft to think that that's not going to affect you in some way, shape, or form. And because the molecular structure of the human vehicle is what it is, right? 70% water. We have an electrical system flowing through our body. Of course, it makes total sense that if those solar flares can affect things like radio, technology, blackouts, of course it can affect us and affects our nervous system, right? Hey, Yolan. Hey, Monique. Hey, Chrissy. Hey, Michelle. So let me know in the comments how you've been feeling, how like over this, and it's funny because I can't even say like, oh, it's been like a day or 2 days because it's been like forever. It feels like it's been forever, for sure. And again, like I said, today we're in another big day, and the Schumann is spiking as well. So we bring into the Schumann, which is the Schumann resonance, if you're not familiar with that, but it's the measurement of the center of the earth. And so we call it in the spiritual realm, we call it Mother Gaia's heartbeat. And so I think when I checked it today, it had spiked to 37. So 7.8 would be its base frequency. And so it's jumping up to 37, which is significant. If that was in your heart, and if your heart rate, your resting heart rate was like 60 beats per minute, and it jumped up to 100 beats per minute, you would feel it. You would have that. You would be like, oh my God, what's this energy coming through? So imagine the energy that's coming through the earth and then the sun. And of course, we're affected by it. So I wanted to talk to you guys about what spirit was kind of downloading me with this morning, and um it was pretty cool. So I like stopped and wrote things down because it was going to be stuff that I wanted to share with you guys. I knew it was going to be relevant to what you're feeling and what you're going through. I knew it would be helpful, and I didn't want to forget anything. So they talked to me about, because I wanted to know, like I said, I wanted to know the purpose. Like, what's the purpose? I know everybody's talking about these great solar flares and all of the stuff. We can see it, right? I'm getting, as we talk, I'm getting notifications from space weather about the solar flares happening. And so what's the cause and effect to this though? Like, this has to serve a purpose. We know that everything serves a purpose. And so they gave me a kinda, and this was another thing too. So, if you notice, just from the comments from everybody yesterday on, one of the posts, there's a few things that are happening. So, either you're somebody that when these solar flares are happening, you're feeling okay, like you're, um maybe just your physical body is not feeling great, but you're feeling okay generally, or you're feeling like energized and supercharged, like you can take on the world and do everything. Or it's kind of like having the opposite effect, and you're like super tired and lethargic, and maybe you've got the migraine, and maybe you've got the muscle aches and the pains. But there, it feels like there's like two kind of very distinct things that are happening. They're saying timeline. So remember, keep that word in mind, because our timelines, like our trajectories, our experiences are very much based on how we're feeling. So this is important to remember. So, and then there's very few people that are kind of in the middle. So let me know in the comments. Are you somebody that has been loving the extra energy, like really finding that you can use it and you're feeling empowered by it? Or are you somebody that's feeling really tired, really lethargic, or not well at all with physical stuff? Or are you somebody that's like kind of in between? So not so bad, not so great. Let me know in the comments so that we can see. But I wanted to give you guys an explanation as to why you might be feeling what you're feeling. So here's the thing, and I'm going to do a diagram for you because that's how they gave it to me. Of course, because I'm clairvoyant, so I can actually see, uh, and clairaudient, so they talk to me as well. And just so in case anybody asks, if you're new on my page and you're following me, when I say they, I'm saying my guidance team. So I have a team of guides and angels and ascended masters that work with me. And so when I say they, that means that they're speaking collectively to me. Okay? Just so that because I will get, like, comments of, "Who is she saying they? Who is she?" Yeah, I'm not crazy. Well, maybe I'm a little bit crazy, but that stuff is real, so okay. So, what they were showing me was that based on your frequencies, so based on the frequencies, your base frequencies that you carry within your human vehicle, that will determine how this whole ascension is affecting you, and especially how the solar flares are impacting you, whether you're finding them beneficial or not. Does that make sense to you guys? Is that you guys following me so far? And so the easiest way that I could show you is I'm going to show you, and you guys let me know if you can see this. And I'll can pop over there and see. Facebook is a little bit behind. So let me know in the comments if you can see this. Good. Okay, you can see it. I see it. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is I am going to, and please do not judge me for my lack of uh, artistic skills. Okay, so here is the human avatar. Okay, so there's an arm, might look a little bit like a gingerbread man. There's a couple of legs. We have the head, another arm. Perfect. You guys understand what that is, right? It's a body. We'll just give it a face and some eyes and a nose. Okay. So this is just so that you can see what they showed me, so you have the understanding of it. Okay. So here is your human avatar. And so remember, within this human avatar is your consciousness. That's who we are. We are pure consciousness. So that is where your soul resides. That's where your human parts, like your ego and your pain body, all those frequencies make up this human avatar. Okay. Let me know in the comments if you're following me, if you can see me, if you can hear me, if that's all good. Um, and that you're following along and I'm not going too fast. This will be recorded and it'll be on the page. So you will get a chance to go back and watch it because I know that I'm talking fast and it's because they give it to me fast. So I'm trying to slow it down as much as I can for you guys. Okay, so here's what happens. This is the explanation. So say this is me. We'll just say it's me for okay. So within my human avatar, I have a bunch of different frequencies based on a bunch of different experiences. Now, these experiences can be from this lifetime, which are personal experiences, or they can be from past lifetimes that I'm carrying forward and still working on. And they can also be frequencies that belong to other people. Now, that's we'll do a whole other thing on that, but as an empath or sensitive, we often pick up frequencies from other people. And if you don't do a great job of clearing your energy or having the awareness, then you're probably carrying a lot of other frequencies that don't belong to you. So just as an example, let's say for me, I'm carrying the frequency of fear. Okay. This is something we all have, anyways. So here's the frequency of fear in my human avatar. And it's relevant kind of like where it is in the body as well, because it'll affect the organs, right? So this would be my low back, my kidneys, my adrenal glands, it can be my stomach in the front. But just say that that's one of the frequencies that I'm holding. And then let's say that I am holding some sadness. So I've got a frequency of sadness can affect my physical body, my chest, my heart chakra. That would be sadness. Let's say that I've got some rage inside me. So I've got some anger. There's the frequency of anger in my body. You guys following me so far? Let's say I've got some jealousy. Let's put some jealousy. So I've got some jealousy in there. Now remember, these are all frequencies that I have accumulated through experience, which we do all of the time. And a lot of times we transmute these. They go and they leave. So they're not always, but we'll have a base set of frequencies. Make sense? Okay. And so then let's say I also have some love. I've got some joy. So you guys get it, right? You can see it. So these are all frequencies in my human avatar. And what happens is based on your personal set of frequencies, this is how the incoming energies will affect you. So now here's where we bring in these light codes. Okay. So when the solar flares are happening, it's a massive surge of energy, right? And so this energy comes in like this into the human avatar, right? Comes into your human body. And of course, the very first thing that will pick up on that incoming energy is our nervous system, right? Because our nerves are always on alert, they're always receptors for everything that's coming in. And so as these energies come in like this, right? All these solar flares, there's some more solar flares. Don't you guys love my art? I missed my calling. Just kidding. So as these energies come in, what's happening and what's the purpose is that they're full of light energy, light codes, which is very similar to our pure consciousness. So if we took out all of these human frequencies, our energy would be very light, our frequency would be very light. So when these new frequencies are coming in from the solar flares, they are meant to come in and they are meant to create more frequency in the human vessel, but different, right? You can see they're different frequencies. So what happens is if you're somebody who has a lot of fear, a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, a lot of wounds, when this energy comes in, it is bouncing off. It's not getting a chance to do what it needs to do. That makes sense? And so the way Spirit said is it becomes a stop and go versus a flow. So literally becomes a like a boom, oh, back out, boom, back out. And then what's happening is your body's not utilizing the energy in the way that it needs to. They're also saying that sometimes this energy can get pooled. So again, it can get trapped in here between two of these lower frequencies. And that's where you might feel some of the discomfort. So if it was in this particular part of your body, you might feel it as excess heart energy. If it was in this part of your body, you might feel it as excess um, crown chakra or third eye energy, right? So all the physical stuff that goes with that. Does that make sense to you guys? So, what is supposed to be happening is this light energy, these frequencies are coming in, and they are supposed to change the entire set of frequencies for our avatar. And so, as we do the work, as we do the ascension work, that's what's happening. So, it's replacing these lower frequencies. Now, will we ever reach a point where there's no more fear, no more loneliness, no more sadness, no more grief? I don't think so. They just said to me working on it. So so it definitely feels like it's in the plan, right? It's in the agenda. But for now, what we want to do is we want to focus on healing these lower frequencies. And there's tons of ways that we can do that. And I'll share that with you at some point, but we want to bring in these higher frequencies and acclimate with them. So, meaning we are able to use them in our human experience. Does that make sense to you guys? Good. I'm going to shut that off. Okay, so what's happening for those who are not enjoying the frequencies that are coming or who feel like they're not benefiting them right now is you're literally having stopping and going. So it's literally comes in, it getting stuck between your lower frequencies and then it leaves. So you're not actually receiving the benefit of it. And for those of you who are feeling great with this, that means that it's in the flow. So it's coming in, it's flowing. Is there anybody that is perfectly 100% in the flow? I don't think so. If you are, if that's you on there, let us know in the comments and let us know what you're doing because we should do it too. But I know even for me, I've spent a lifetime of doing work on my spiritual self, on my soul. And, in this last year, so much for me, I'm definitely acclimating to the energies better. They're coming in and I can feel the flow and I can feel the inspiration and the lightness from them. But my human avatar still has a hard time processing them. So I still get the migraines, the vestibular migraines with the dizziness, that. And especially when the big energy is coming through, like yesterday, I know for me, I felt very, uh, light, and, this could be if you were just looking at from a physical perspective, you could say lightheaded, like you felt lightheaded, but I know what that is from. So I know, and because I, do I'm very aware of my physical body, I know my blood pressure, I monitor all the physical aspects of it. When that stuff comes in, I know that where it's coming from, so I understand the source of it. Does that make sense to you guys? And so what they said to me was, as these frequencies come in, and it's kind of cool because you guys know that I use the AO scanner, and I've talked a little bit about it. I'll start talking to you guys more about it. I use it with my clients when we do the medical mediumship. We do it for healing with pets and, everything else. But so how the AO scan, I wanna bring this in because it's kind of very similar. The AO scanner, what it does is the technology goes in and it literally takes a vibrational imprint of all of the frequencies in your body. So including all your systems, all your organs, like every part of you. And then what happens is it determines where there are frequencies there that are out of harmony, right? So if you think about kind of like the body as like an orchestra, all of the instruments should be playing in tune, in sync, playing the same song. And that's what creates that flow. When we have disharmony in the body and some of the frequencies are off or frequencies that we don't want, that's when the imbalances come. That's when we get sick. That's when we don't feel good. And so what the AO scanner does then, which is kind of cool, is that it goes and sends you the balancing frequencies. So I use my scanner like, 3 times a day. And what it'll do is it goes in and it scans all my frequencies, then gives me the reports and shows me what frequencies are out, including my chakras, including my meridians, including my organs, everything. And then it sends the optimizing frequencies to it. So this is where how so what's happening is the optimizing frequencies are coming in from the solar flares, right? In the same sense. And the same thing happens. So sometimes with my scanner, not every frequency that's out of harmony goes back into place. Sometimes it stays stuck out of place. And that's okay because then that's when I say, nobody will ever be 100% in harmony and balance, not in a human avatar, anyways. But you could prove me wrong. You might be one of those people. And so what happens is we end up with all of these kind of like harmonies or frequencies that are still out of balance a bit. Does that make sense? And so it's the same thing when the solar flares come in, their purpose, their intention is to harmonize the frequencies in the body. But sometimes we have that resistance, right? There's that resistance. It could be a deep wound, it could be a deep trauma, it could be ancestral energy that you're still clearing, right? I'm Métis, so there's a huge part of my ancestry that I am behind the scenes working to heal and transform, right? And so sometimes when those high frequencies from the solar flares come in, they don't get to balance that, but they'll continue. And that's where it's kind of interesting because if you notice, they're nonstop. The energies coming in are kinda nonstop. Like, we get a little bit of a break, and I think they give that to us so that we don't, like, totally fall apart, right? Because this is transformation, and transformation is hard, right? Nobody said it was gonna be easy. Um, but we're getting those frequencies to come in to help us upgrade, right? To help us with the ascension process. And so what they're helping us to do, and they gave me this analogy. So here's a good way of understanding it. If you're taking a lot of vitamins, like if you're taking a lot of vitamins for healing, and sometimes your body doesn't use all of the vitamins, and some vitamins will actually end up storing in your body, right? And have a toxic effect instead of a good effect on your body. And so it's the same way when these light codes, when these downloads, when these high frequencies come in, they're meant to be healing. They're meant to be serving a purpose of healing, but sometimes they get stuck and that flow doesn't happen. And so when they get stuck, we get an accumulation of energy in the human avatar. Does that make sense to you guys? And so for anybody that is having the headaches, the migraines, the nausea, the blurry vision, the dizziness, the pain, the discomfort, all of this stuff, right? Because I get asked all the time, what is an ascension symptom? Well, it really could be anything at this point. It's however your body expresses disharmony or out of balance, right? And so what happens is the energy comes in and it's giving us the opportunity, and this is the really important thing to remember, the purpose of it so you understand it, is that we are being given the opportunity to find balance. Okay? So that's really an important life lesson that all souls are going through right now. It's that balance, creating that balance. And so Spirit said to me that we create balance through a change in perception. So think about that just for a moment, because when I said in the beginning how we feel dictates our experience, just think for a moment, and I hate using the word think because I want you to feel for a moment, but just feel for a moment about something that you're struggling with or something that you're having challenges with right now. And it's likely something that you kind of repeat, right? We get on repeat cycles. And just feel into, like, what would it be like if you were able to shift your perception? If you just shifted your perception into seeing it in a different way. And I wanted to show you guys this because this is important. And this is so when good psychics and good mediums, and I say good because there are lots of people out there that claim that they're doing it, but not everybody does it well. But when there is a good psychic or a good medium, what they get really good at doing is they get good at creating space. Okay. And so it's in that space that we have more room for an open perception, for a wider perspective, right? And so if we are able to do that, if we're able to create that space, open up energetically, right? Allowing things to flow better, then our perception can change, right? This is when I do work with clients when I as a psychic or a medium. This is why, doing readings via distance is amazing, so powerful, because the more space there is between me and a client, the broader the view is of the picture that I get to create, that I get to bring in, right? There's more space for input. Where when you have 2 people that are face to face or in person like that, it's you have to be really good at being able to create that energetic space, and most people aren't. Most people, when you meet them, are in your face. Not literally speaking, but, energetically speaking, right? When I talk to some people, they're literally on you energetically, right? They don't realize it because they're not doing it intentionally, but that's how they communicate energetically. And so, in order to be able to see the big picture, which is where all the answers are, which is where all the guidance is, we need that space. That space has to happen. Does that make sense? And that's why we use meditation, right? Meditation clears the mind, opens up, creates some space. Prayer, very, very powerful, coming from your heart, that automatically raises your frequency and creates that space. Anytime we are in nature, anytime we are around anything that emits a strong frequency of love, which is our pets, right? Our children when they're little, not so much when they get older, but when they're little, right? Their heart energy is big, their heart center is big. So I feel like this is like such a pivotal time for us. Like it's such a huge shift. And I know people, say that, oh, the shift is on this date and blah, blah, blah. But I feel like it's a continuous process. But I feel like we've made some type of progress. Like there is literally some type of progress that has happened. So that, that stopping and starting where they talked about going in, I'm feeling like there's less of that. Like there will be more of the flow that comes in. And it's okay if you're not feeling that yet. Don't give up. Please don't, because trust me, there were more days on my healing journey, especially in this last year and a half, where I was like, this is never going to get better. I'm never going to understand what I need to do to heal, to grow, to ascend. And it happens. The shift does happen. So you need to, they're saying right now, you need to have a kind heart, especially towards yourself, right? That's so, so important. Often we save our kindness and our support and our encouragement for others, and especially if you're an empath or sensitive, but this is the time where you need to give that energy to yourself, right? All that love, that encouragement, that support. So let me just see. I'm going to go and see if you have a couple questions. And I hope that you guys were able to follow along okay. Okay. So yeah, so I can see in the comments like some of the people how they were feeling. Um so Yolande saying tired with energized some days. Amanda works at the crisis center and it's hectic. Yeah, so good for you, girl, being a light worker in anything like that. Um, I'm sorry to hear about your husband. Yeah, so that is something a lot of souls are experiencing right now, right? Is being really, really sick. My mom's one of them. She has leukemia. She is like literally fighting for her life. So remember, that's where that balance thing is coming in. That's where that you know, you can't continue doing all of the things that you have been doing that have been creating disharmony in your body, in your human avatar, uh, and ascend. You can't, there's no spiritual bypassing this. You can't, uh, you know, talk your way out of this one. This is everybody's, there's no getting out of line. Everybody's in line for it, right? Hey, Vicky. And Trudy saying having a hard day any way you look at it. And I know, Trudy, that's tough. I get it. So here's the thing I want you guys to remember. And this is, remember, I have these experiences too. And I'm having the awareness of when there's a situation where I'm trying to push really hard against it, like I want a specific outcome, like this is what I need. And I'm desperately, pushing against it. I'm creating that resistance energetically. So it's making that outcome chaotic and hard and not uh, able to manage or manipulate. So instead, what we're being guided to do is shift that perception and go, okay, and trust me, it doesn't always just come to you like, "Oh, I just got it download and now I have all the answers." It doesn't always come like that. I wish it did. I wish that they just gave us the answers. I wish that, but what would we learn if that happened? But what happens is you can literally at any time go, "Okay, I'm not getting this." Whatever situation this applies to, your work, your finances, your love life, your romance, your money, it applies to every aspect of it. What you do is you recognize, okay, how I am approaching this, how I've been doing this is not serving me well. And I know this because I'm not feeling well doing it. Does that make sense? And so what you can do is you can say, listen, I need some help with this. Show me another way. Show me another perspective on this. And here's the part that gets tricky. And this is the part where you'll be like, yeah, you make it sound so easy, but it's not happening like that. Because the mistake that happens is we ask for that guidance or we ask for that support, and then we go up in here to receive it, right? We go up into the mind to receive it. And we will never receive guidance from our guides through the mind. They don't communicate like that. And when we go into the mind, right away, our ego and our pain bodies become activated in your human avatar. When the pain body and the ego are activated, clarity goes out the window, right? They come in with agendas and there's no clarity in that. They thrive on chaos, they thrive on destruction, they thrive on instability and disharmony, that they thrive on those frequencies. So, you have to get really, really good at opening up your senses. And if you're somebody who's sensitive or an empath, you have this natural ability, but you have to allow it. And so they're saying right now, your mind will trip you up every time. So it's like you're going looking for the answers, but you're going to the wrong place, right? It's like you want to get a loan from the bank, but you go to the ice cream store. It's not gonna, you're not gonna get what you need. So what you need to do is you need to open up your receptors. You need to go into a place of surrender. You need to recognize in the simplest way, just recognize, oh, when I try and do that, I'm getting pushback. When I say these words, I'm getting slammed back, right? When I take this action, I'm getting thrown back. So you say, there must be another way. There's always another way, always. That, with where there's a will, there's a way. That is valid for a very good reason. But it doesn't always happen instantly, right? You can instantly, if you get really, really good at clearing those frequencies, you've got less resistance, the fear's going, all of the stuff, you're getting the flow, and then you're in tune, you're in sync with your soul energy and your guidance team. And you go, oh, this is difficult. I'm having a really hard time with this. Give me some insight, some guidance. Boom, it can happen instantly. You can get instant information. When I do readings for clients, I'm getting instant information for them, right? It doesn't always come instantly for myself. And again, like I said, that's because we have stuff to work on. And if they just give us all of the answers, we are not doing the work. So do yourself a favor and have the awareness that you're not going to find the answers in your mind, that you're going to find it in the space that you need to create, right? And I always say, when I would teach mediumship, I would say, don't dismiss anything. That's the really important thing especially when you're establishing your connection with your team, because not everybody utilizes their support teams, and they're there for you. They're always there for. It's not just me. Everybody has them. But you need to open up all of your ways of communicating. So your sense of feeling, your clairaudient. So when I say they and they're talking to me, a voice does not come inside my head. The voice comes from outside of me, right? So that's a really good another indicator to know that it's not your mind. Your mind is not going to give you the answers. Your mind will give you the answers for one is 1 + 1 and how to get to where that your mind does that work. But if you're tapping into the consciousness of which you come, then you're not going to receive that necessarily in a language, a word, but more in frequencies, right? More in, oh, there's an opening when I do this. I feel the expansion when I say that. You have to get into tune of feeling that. And part of what's happening is as these frequencies are coming in, we're feeling that. We're feeling that support system. And if you're not feeling it, it's because you're in here. That's like your prison. It's like the jail cell. And if you stay in there, no problems are ever solved there, right? No problems are ever solved just in the mind. It's always from the collection that we receive the guidance and the support. Does that make sense to you guys? I hope that makes sense. And so Yolana's saying, when you say you are getting downloads or light codes, what does that feel like for you? That's a good question. So it can feel different for everybody, again, based on what your base frequency is like. So for me, now it sometimes feels like sparkles coming in. Sometimes it can still feel like a brain zap, like a literally like a jolt of energy that comes through. It can feel euphoric. So you can feel like you have goosebumps or like a lot of energy flowing in. um, it can feel like migraines and it can feel like pressure. So you see how there's no like this is good and this is bad, right? It's just very unique to what your personal frequency is like, right? Does that make sense? Amanda's saying that she feels goosebumps. So goosebumps is I'm telling you, don't underestimate the goosebumps because I think that most spirit teams communicate that way because remember your central nervous system, right? Our nerves receive everything first. And so getting the goosebumps is always a really good way of getting validation. So pay attention to when you get the goosebumps. I always, when I get the goosebumps, I acknowledge it and I validate it and I say thank you. And then they know that that's a great way to communicate with me. So continue to do that for sure. Yeah, and the dreams. So pay attention to the dreams, guys, because we are getting so much stuff. I could sit here and talk to you about my dreams all day because they're so I'm a lucid dreamer. Let me know in the comments if you're a lucid dreamer because lucid dreaming is very cool because you have the awareness that you are dreaming and you can actually shift and change things in the dream, which is kind of cool. So pay attention if you have that because that's a great place for us to start healing and understanding. And I know that like, don't ask me a million dream questions because it's very specific to you, the interpretation of it. Even if you come back and you try and decipher it with your human mind, you're gonna get all lost and confused. But if you instead have a like, oh, well, that dream made me feel like this. Like I came out of that dream with sometimes you come out like feeling love, right? Or support. Sometimes you come out feeling terrified or shook. And so often I feel like we're having many experiences in other realms and other dimensions, other aspects of your soul, not just the one that's making this human avatar, but other aspects are having experiences. And again, all the experiences are based on what you need to change, what you need to move, what you need to shift. Does that make sense? Awesome. Okay. Susan saying people need to get out of their heads. Yes, absolutely. For sure. I would agree with that. It's not always easy though, right? It's not easy to get out of your heads because everything around us is programming us to believe that we have to be smart, that we have to think this out, that we have to give it lots of thought, right? And all of that stuff is actually the opposite of how we are when we're in flow, when things flow. If you were ever to watch like an artist or a performer, right, a musician, you'll see that there's a flow that's happening. There's not they're not thinking about, oh, if I move this way or if I add that color, if I do that. They're not doing that. They're allowing flow to come. And that's what we need to do. That's what will help us the most. Okay. Chrissy's saying lots of repeating numbers. Another great way that our teams connect with us is by showing us those numbers, right? Again, I'm not a big believer that, oh, 111 means this, 222 means I think that's all again human making that happen, making it fit. But I believe that it's like that acknowledgement that's like we've got your back. We're here for you. Or here, you need to pay attention to this. Here, there's something coming up that needs your focus, right? I feel like it's that. So remember, everything's not very precise. Like it's not exact. There has to be like that open. It's like, nothing is black and white ever, right? Nothing is good or bad, yes or no. That doesn't exist uh as far as frequencies go, right? It's kind of a blend of everything. There's a blend of things. Does that make sense? And that's what we're all experiencing right now. We're getting all of the light codes, all of the light energy coming in, and we're having that blend with our lower frequencies. So, our job is to continue to do the work, ask myself several times, what do I need right now? What will serve me best right now? In any situation, how do I get through this by serving myself and not doing it out of an arrogant way, right? Not being egotistical or narcissistic, but bringing that self-care, that self-love, right? Super, super important. Okay. So I think I gave you guys everything that came through. I hope this makes sense. Please share it on your pages so that everybody else can get a little bit of help with these solar flares. And when Spirit gives me some more information to share with you guys, I'll pop on. So make sure you're watching the pages. Make sure you're signed up for my newsletter if you haven't done that. So go to jody-jones.com. You can get my newsletter for free so you know what I'm doing. We have a live event that is starting on May 22nd. It's harnessing your intuition. So if you're somebody that is struggling with your clairs, your sense of hearing, seeing, knowing, feeling, then this would be a great workshop for you, because we're going to be using, see all the books that I have, like the million of books that I've read. You don't have to read all of them. But we're going to be using our guides and our guidance to go in and tap into these books and pull out sections that pertain to us that we need. We're going to be able to ask spirit questions. We're going to get some insight and guidance on things that we're going through. We're going to get help in navigating all of this stuff. So you can join us. It's for 4 weeks. We're going to do it for 4 weeks. It's $55 for the 4 weeks. And I'm getting so many emails asking me, is it $55 a week? No, it's 55 for the 4 weeks. I wanted to make sure that it was affordable for everybody. I don't want anybody to not be able to come to something I'm doing that is meant for helping if they have financial restrictions. So it's affordable for everybody. And you can be anywhere in the world because we're doing it over Zoom. And if you did miss it, it will be recorded, so you could go back and you could watch it. But if you can come in person, then you have the opportunity to ask your questions to Spirit as well, which is very kind of cool. So if you go to my website, so jody-jones.com, and you go to upcoming events, there will be a tab on there. And you can just follow the link to do that. And if you have any questions, send me an email. And just know I'm sending you guys huge blessings, and it's time to get excited about this, I think. I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like right now that's where we're at. Right now in this moment, that's where we are at. So let's do our best, okay? Sending you guys huge blessings.